What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and today our video is going to be the 5 coaches that are already on the hot seat going into this year. And we're going to start with number 1, which would be Brandon Staley of the Los Angeles Chargers, former defensive coordinator for the Rams, and he has coached 2 years now on the Chargers and has had the privilege of having Justin Herbert as his quarterback. But the last year, the one prior to this one, they fell short to the Raiders to make the playoffs, and then this one they brutally collapsed against the Jaguars in the playoffs. So not a great tenure. There's a pretty good roster over there in LA, especially defensively, and he is a defensive-minded coach, but he has just not helped Herbert a lot, and they've just had rough clock management situations, and it's really, a lot of it has been on him. So he is definitely on the hot seat, and they will be looking at that spot to be replaced possibly. Next up will be Josh McDaniels of the Las Vegas Raiders. And McDaniels was very successful in New England, had a great tenure, was part of 3 Super Bowl wins as an offensive coordinator, but now had his first season in Las Vegas and did not do well, went 6-11 with the acquisition of Devontae Adams, with the Fresno State to Fresno State connection between Derek Carr and Adams. That was supposed to be electric, and they were supposed to be some of the favorites to go win that division. And they brutally failed. And a lot of it was on McDaniels as a coach. And I don't know if there's a bright future for him. And if they start up next season really bad, I could totally see him being a mid-season fire. And he has to turn it around. But we will find out. I am surprised he is still a coach. I'm not going to lie. So next up, we will move on to a veteran coach who's had a great tenure in his past, which was with the Carolina Panthers, winning 2 coaches of the year. And we know him as a great coach. He's a stubborn guy, doesn't really take advice very much. He's been really stuck with a tough QB situation between Heineke and Carson Wentz and just Ryan Fitzgerald. There's just been a lot of tough quarterback decisions he's had to make, and he's never really had a good decision to make, which is the problem. And he had a rough press conference this year where he wasn't even aware that they were eliminated from playoff contention, and that was a tough look. I don't really blame him terribly for that. He's a great coach, but I think they may be looking towards the future, and I think that if they start bad next year, just like most of these coaches on the hot seat, that he could be looking for a new job when it comes next offseason. Now will bring us to our next coach, which this one's a bit different. Matt Eberfluh, after 1 year with the Bears, he's a defensive-minded coach, but he's really stuck with a tough situation, and there was really no hope to having a great season this past year, just because that roster construction is so early in development, and there really needs to be a lot more draft picks and acquisitions, which this is the offseason to do it for them, as they have the most cap space. But he might fall victim to the Lovie Smith treatment, in which he's not going to have enough time to make this team good before he is fired. And whether it's his fault or not, that is just the circumstance that happened to be his time of hire, and he may give the next coach a much better situation. But if they go win less than 6 games again next year, it could be rough for his job, and coaches just don't get brought back after 2 really bad seasons, whether it's his fault or not. So he may be a victim to that sort of circumstance, which it always sucks to see, but I could totally see that happening. And that will bring us to our 5th and final coach, which this is the surprise one of the video, and it would be Mike McCarthy with the Dallas Cowboys. Now, he's had a pretty solid tenure in his 3 years for the Cowboys, going 12-5 in back-to-back seasons, but they fall short in the playoffs, and the Cowboys are America's team, so they don't take very kindly to falling short in the playoffs. And I fear that if it happens again this coming season, or they don't even make it that far, that Mike McCarthy may be out of a job and they may be looking in a different direction, maybe a Kellen Moore. So McCarthy, even though he's done pretty solid, pretty well, 2 12-5 seasons in a row is very good. But I do believe the Cowboys, there's a lot of scrutiny that comes with that job, and he could be out. That is a hot take, but that is something that I see could be a possibility. So that breaks down our 5 coaches that are on the hot seat, in my opinion. There's degrees to this hot seat, and some may be fired mid-season, some may turn it around and save their jobs, but these are the guys that are really needing to win going into next year to make sure that they can keep their jobs. Thank you for watching, and like and subscribe if you enjoyed the content. Peace.